Another 7:30 game that we've got is Minnesota at number 1 Ohio State. Again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC and Peacock. Really, will Ohio State continue to show that they are the best team in college football right now? So they've lost plenty from last year's national championship roster. 14 Buckeyes were taken in the 2025 NFL Draft, tied for second most all time, and both of their coordinators departed the program as well. And this year, Ryan Day has showed, hey, we're just reloading. We're not rebuilding right now. They're the top-ranked team in the country. They're the favorites to win another national title this year at plus 500, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. Ohio State's defense, which lost 8 starters from last year, is leading the nation with only 5.5 points allowed per game. The Buckeyes look to continue their dominant run against a 3-1 Minnesota team that features one of the nation's highest-graded quarterbacks in redshirt freshman Drake Lindsey, but the Golden Gophers have not beaten Ohio State since the 2000 season either.
Yeah, I think what you have is Ohio State. Look, they were the obviously the national champions, and so far this year they have proven why, and we questioned with as much as they've lost, especially on the defensive side, and the quarterback for that matter, if they could do it again. They sure look like early in the season they can do it again. And then Minnesota, look, another one. You get a real prove-it opportunity here to take a step up here in the Big Ten. Big win, big comeback win last week against Rutgers. I thought that was big for them, especially for Drake Lindsey. And I think a big storyline for Minnesota is running back injuries right now.
Yeah, Darius Taylor's
Turner's
out for the year.
AJ Turner's out for the year. He's their number 2, but Darius Taylor's missed the last 2 games. They've basically just been relying on Lindsey to win them ball games. He's done it so far, which is great for a young kid making his first few starts, but this is a different test now for Drake Lindsey. When you talk about this isn't Rutgers, this isn't Cal, this is Ohio State, and this is Caleb Downs in the secondary. This is going to be fun to watch.
These are 2 teams, Dalton, that have 2 redshirt freshman quarterbacks that have been outstanding for them this year. Tell me more about Minnesota, though, with Drake Lindsey.
Look, he's a big 6'5" pocket passer with a big-time arm that's been getting it done. I think, again, the experience that he got last week, especially beating Rutgers in a big comeback win, especially without the run. Minnesota only ran for 42 yards last week on Rutgers, and Lindsey he's carrying their offense right now. I got to give him a lot of credit. You look at his numbers so far this season, 90.6 passing grade, top 5 in the country. 4% big-time throw rate, which I think he'll even get better with his big arm later in the season. But for a young kid, only a 1.5% turnover-worthy play rate. He's been pretty safe with the football. He's made some plays outside the pocket, but he's mostly going to win from inside of it. And I think his most dangerous throws come deep down the middle of the field. Can he challenge Caleb Downs and Jalen McClain and these Ohio State safeties down the middle of the field and keep making the big throws to the deep post that he is? But he's legitimately, for the last 2 weeks, 1 loss to Cal and 1 win against Rutgers, he has been single-handedly carrying this offense because of these running back injuries. And look, we don't know if Darius Taylor is going to play this week, and PJ Fleck's being kind of coy about it. We're going to see I believe he said we're not going to see the injury report till the day of. But, if Taylor's out, this is basically what you're relying on to win a ball game for you, is Drake Lindsey. Big throws from the pocket, especially down the middle of the field, I think is really where Ohio State and Matt Patricia, they need to be careful not giving up any of those big shots, because he's throwing between the numbers really, really well right now.
Yeah, you see right now 90.6 passing grade, but he is going against what I would call maybe the best defense in college football this year. Ohio State allowing 5.5 points per game, only 13 combined points allowed to 2 dangerous offenses in Washington and Texas, too. That Ohio State defense is playing lights out football right now. I'm looking at Julian Sayin, the other redshirt freshman quarterback in this game, and Ohio State's elite receivers against Minnesota's man coverage. Julian Sayin has been the most accurate quarterback in college football this year. He leads the nation with a 79% completion rate and also leads the nation with an 87% adjusted completion rate. So really, your completion percentage plus any drops your receivers have too. It also helps, though, he has an elite group of weapons to throw to. Jeremiah Smith, who's a legit Heisman candidate right now, and a potential first-round pick in this year's draft in Carnell Tate, too. The Buckeyes are currently 9th in America with an 80.5 receiving grade this year. They always have an elite receiving core. It's no different this year with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate leading it. But Minnesota is 20th in coverage grade right now at 89.9, and they excel in coverage while running man coverage at one of the highest rates in the country. They run man coverage over 43% of the time this year. That's 13th in America. A vast majority of that, 35%, comes in cover one, which is man coverage across the board and one deep safety back there. Usually, sometimes Corey Parrish plays in the slot a little bit, but sometimes go back to free safety too. Julian Sayin, I will say, has been far better against zone coverage than he has been against man coverage right now. A 58.2 passing grade against man coverage, 91.6 passing grade against zone coverage. Against man coverage, he's completed 7 of his 16 attempts with a 66.7% adjusted completion rate. But I will say, it's a very limited sample size for Julian Sayin against man coverage. And for Minnesota, playing man coverage across the board against those freaks at wide receiver in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate will present a much, much harder challenge than anything they've had all year. And also the most accurate quarterback in the country, Julian Sayin, too. So, yes, Minnesota's been great in coverage this year and in man coverage this year, too. But now you're going against Ohio State with the most accurate quarterback in the country and just freaks across the board at wide receiver.
So what's interesting about that and kind of a philosophical shift for Minnesota, because Minnesota's always got a good secondary. They got great defensive backs every year. 2 years ago when they had Tyler Nubin and that crew, they were more of a sit-back, quarters, too-high kind of team. They ran cover one 14% of the time. Last year, they almost double that, up to 27%. And then this year, you look at them, and I think, 38% right around there, that they're 37% that they're running. So it's an interesting shift in philosophy. And look, if you have talent, if you have man coverage talent, use it. If you're PJ Fleck, if you have zone coverage talent like you had with Tyler Nubin back in the day, so be it. But you do wonder if you can take that gamble, because it's Jeremiah Smith, it's Carnell Tate, it's Brandon Inniss, it's Max Clare, and then they're just starting to get these young backs going in the back.
Cover one with one safety back there. It's like maybe cover two man is what you should be playing.
Possibly, but then you make the choice of Ohio State. They're getting in this running game with Bo Jackson and these guys a little bit in the backfield.
Yep.
It's a choice with Ohio State, and facts are facts. Look, Ohio State's not going to see a ton of man coverage in general, so Sayin's numbers are kind of small sample. There's dangers of small samples there, but we know he's accurate. We know with Jeremiah, listen, if there's anything, the first play that gets put in this offense, more so than any concept, is, hey, if number 4's got press man, just do it, just chuck it up to him, right? So it's an interesting kind of decision to make if you're Minnesota. Do you break the tendency and go, okay, we just can't this week. We can't do it. We just cannot let these guys get over the top, because if you do that, the game could just be over after the first quarter.
Yeah. All right, ultimately, Dalton, will Minnesota pull off the impossible here as a massive 23.5-point spread, or will the top-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes take care of business at home?
Yeah, I mean, that the spread and the debate on the cover is going to be interesting, but I just – especially if they don't have Darius Taylor to balance this offense out. Look, they've already asked Drake Lindsey to do a lot so far, especially last week, basically carrying them single-handedly to a win over Rutgers. And I like Javon Tracy and those receivers, but this is a different this Ohio State secondary is a whole different animal with Jermaine Matthews, with Davison Igbinosa, with Caleb Downs and Jalen McClain, and all these guys they have on the back end. It's just tough. It's tough to project Minnesota scoring a ton of points in this game. I've got Ohio State 31-9. I think Ohio State, the one thing we've seen in their first two games against Texas, great defense, Washington, decent defense, I think underrated. Remember that game was only 24-6 last week. They got to finish drives. They're still not playing A+ offensive football in Ohio State yet, especially in the red zone. I think if they start finishing drives, that's when you start talking about blowing some teams out, turning 0s and 3s into 7s. So that's something I'm looking for, is their red zone offense in this game. And that's the one spot where I think early in the season where Sayin hasn't been fantastic, is when you get down in the red zone in those tight windows. But I think they're going to figure it out. And I think they cruise to a pretty solid win here over Minnesota. Good Minnesota team, but missing those running backs is going to hurt them this time, because you can't ask your quarterback to carry you against a team like this.
You can't. I haven't actually covered the spread. I have 34-7. I have Ohio State winning this game. Drake Lindsey has been very, very impressive so far, but this Ohio State defense has been lights out against far more explosive offenses like Texas and Washington than the one Minnesota has right now. So That's an issue for them. And also, Ohio State's elite receiving core will be too much. If you're going to play cover one across the board all game, it's going to be a tough matchup for Minnesota in that game, too, against Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, even Max Clare, too, at tight end is a really good player. It's been a little quiet this year, though, too. I have a 34-7. I have Ohio State beating Minnesota. I think it'll be pretty they'll take care of business pretty easily, I think, at home in this night game, too. So I have Ohio State winning by 27.